No one's coming to save you. You're going to wake up every day and you are going to have to be the one that does the work, that plans for your future and your goals and helps you achieve them. Every day I wake up knowing this simple fact. No one cares about what I do. And I don't mean that in the kind of flippant, nobody cares about you thing. That's not what I mean. I mean, if I never made another YouTube video, if I never ran another mile, if I gained weight and just became a couch potato, is there really, truly anyone that is invested in me and my success at this point? 48 years old, I spend my life caring for others, working hard to provide for others. And sometimes it feels as though no one's really looking out for me. There's no one, because we're adults. We're adults now. There's nobody that's kind of hovering over us, making sure we're making right decisions. And now if you do have somebody that's constantly nagging you to get in shape and to take care of your health, that's good. The person loves you and they care about you. And that's not even almost what I'm talking about. There are people around us that kind of care if something bad happens to us. But if you specifically have goals, if you specifically want to achieve things, there's no one that can do it for you. You have to get up every day with the intention of making progress and steps towards that. I've been doing YouTube and running for a very long time. This channel, YouTube in general, is not easy. I spend almost as much time as I do in a full-time job in a week researching, writing, editing, producing content, planning it. You on the other side don't care about that, and that's fine. You don't care about that. When you watch a YouTube channel, you're just consuming, and you value people. You become, I guess, friends through the camera. There's a lot of you out here that I generally really appreciate the support and the comments and how long you've supported me. It's awesome. It gives me inspiration. It motivates me to create and do better. But do I honestly think anyone really cares? I mean, if I turn this channel off, some of you would be like, oh, that sucks. And then everyone would move on with their life. And I'm under no delusion that somehow I'm changing the world. But I do hope that I'm inspiring folks and creating something worthwhile. I mean, to be honest with you all, when I create a video, whether it's 4 minutes when I'm trying to be respectful of people's time, people watch on average, I know a lot of you watch the whole video. I'm lucky if I get 50% of the video watched. If I make a 16-minute video, 50% of that video is watched, which is always crazy to me. If I make a 20-minute video, the average view will be close to 10 minutes. But if I make a 5-minute video, the average view will be closer to 2.5 to 3 minutes. It's always just funny, but that's on me. I have to be able to provide value in every video that I create. I have to either entertain or provide value and try to be respectful of your time. And that's what I focus on when I'm making YouTube videos. And again, with my fitness, you all don't care if I get out of shape. You all don't know unless I tell you. I have to get up every day with the intention to make steps towards my goals. And when I say that nobody cares, no one's coming to save you, I really, truly mean that you have to save yourself. You have to plan. And that's what I'm trying to do on this channel. I'm trying to be that spark, that motivator, that person that can inspire you to know that you can do more, way more than you know you can. And I think that's what YouTube provides. It provides this kind of like reminder of every day, because you can get caught in this consuming loop of getting that dopamine hit of watching a video and feeling motivated and then not doing anything. Believe me, I've been in it myself. I try not to consume too much because I feel like it kind of creeps into my creation, and then it makes me get into a comparison. It makes me get into derailing my thought process and thinking, oh, that's a good idea. I should try that. And I don't want to do that. I want to be a carbon copy of anything. I want to provide value and inspiration that comes generally from me. So, if you're out there and you're struggling and you're looking for inspiration, we're definitely going to try to provide that here. But just know that I care that you care enough to get towards your goals. I'm going to continue to push you. I'm going to continue to remind you that you are the one that's ultimately responsible for your outcomes. You know, we are the sum totals of our decisions. We're the sum totals of what we do every day. So if you want to be successful, you want to be in shape, you're going to have to do every single day something that helps you make progress, helps you take steps towards that. And you're the only one that can do it. Now, I know that you can do it. I've seen hundreds and hundreds, not thousands of people do it over the years and comment and on this channel saying they've changed their lives. And I believe you can do it. I'm here for you. So you decided you want to run an ultramarathon. You wanted to become one of the 7 and 1 million people on the face of the earth, the 0.007% of all humans on this earth. You want to become one of those people. You've already checked number 1 off your list of getting there. Number 1 on the list, how to become an ultra runner, is deciding that you want to actually do it. Now, I said in my last video, that's linked right here, that I've never met anyone who is on the fence. You either want to do an ultramarathon or you want nothing to do with it. You don't understand it. You wouldn't attempt it and you hate running. After 12 years of doing these, I've never met someone that's like, yeah, maybe I'll do one day. It's black or white. And you've clicked on this video and you want to do one, so you've already taken care of number 1. Number 2, find a race. Now, there's many ways to find a race. You could have small local races around you, but if you go to ultrarunnersignup.com, you can search for a race. You can search by the difficulty, terrain, tons of stuff out there to slice and dice where you want to do one. If it's certain location, it will rate them for that's what's good for a beginner or an expert level one, how hard they are. There's all kinds of stuff to look at out there to help you decide, narrow down what race would be your perfect first race, that carrot out there for you to train towards. Number 3, find a training plan. You're going to need to find a training plan, whether or not you're just starting off running or you've been running and you're a road runner and you're trying to transition into trail and ultra running. Now, it's going to really depend on where you are. That's a large gap in training if you're just starting to, if you're somebody who's already a marathon runner. But if you go find a training plan, I have some on my website. You can click down in the description below and you can link to my website, and I have training plans out there for you to look at. But you find yourself a training plan and you start off slow. And that's number 4. Build your base slowly. This is not a race yet to get to where you're going. You want to take your time. You want to make sure your bones, your feet, your ligaments, your muscles, tendons, fascia, all of that is ready for the amount of time you're going to be on your feet. So again, time on your feet is going to be super critical here. It's not going to be all running. You're not running a marathon. You're going to have to get used to spending 8, 9, 10, 12, 24 hours, depending on what race you're doing, on your feet. And it's not going to be all running. So expecting all of your training to be all running is just nonsense. Walk, run is just fine. Spending more time, I'd rather you go for a 2-hour walk run where you walk an hour and you run an hour than just going out and running 1 hour and being done with the day. You want to spend more time on your feet. The plans I have on my website will help break this down for you. Number 5, you're going to need to learn to fuel on the move. Fueling on the move is definitely difficult when you come from the road racing world. When I transitioned from road racing, half marathons into ultras, and how much I had to eat to carry this tank of a body I got down the trail, it was hard, but it was good. After a while, I got used to it and realized that real foods helps fuel me better than just trying to live off gels. But I've dialed that in over the last over a decade now, and I'm in a good spot. I use gels to kind of supplement the caloric deficit that I'm in, like one every 45 minutes or so, and then every aid station I take in real food, and then I just continue from there. You're going to have to find what works with you. We're all different. We're all an experiment of one, but you'll find something that works for you, and you need to figure that out before your first race. Or you're going to learn it in your first race, and that's why you have multiple races after that. We're always learning. Failure helps us learn. We've all been there. Number 5, this is what I did. I researched everything. I watched every video I could find at the very beginning in 2014, 2013 era. There weren't a ton out there, but I read tons of race reports. That's what we used to do back in the olden days. Read race reports. I watched the videos, and I tried to get as familiar with the race, the terrain, what other people went through as I could. It helped mitigate some of the anxiety and stress of where I'm going to go, not knowing what I'm getting myself into. And that's what kind of spawned me making the videos I do. I've filmed tons and tons and tons of ultras that I've been that I've done, and for multiple years. A lot of them have 4 or 5 or more videos. And I always have people coming up to me saying and thanking me for doing those videos, that it helped them prepare for their race. And that makes me smile. It makes me happy. Do all the research you can to help your anxiety. And if you have that, and there's with the race and there's nothing out there, maybe you're going to be the one. Maybe you take a GoPro and your phone, you film it for the next person. Number 6, packing. This is something that takes a long time to dial in. I have a packing list on my website too. You can click on that link down in the description when you're checking out the training plans. I got an ebook of all my experiences, 66-page ebook of all my experiences in ultra running, kind of a comprehensive guide to just getting started. But the packing list, it's a long packing list, about 20 pages, just all the things to consider. You're not going to need everything, but if you're doing a 50K, it's going to be a lot less. 50 miler, a little bit more than that. 100 miler plus, if it's a point to point, if it really can, it's really going to, how remote it is, it's really going to depend on what type of race you're doing. So this helps, that guy will help walk you through things to consider, things you may have not thought of. I've learned a lot over the years of what I need and what I don't need, and I definitely try to err on the side of minimalism now, but there's definitely races out there you can't do that. There's required gear that you need to think about. There's altitude, weather. There's so many different types of races, and the variables change with every race. So the more you know, the more you think about this book, that booklet you can download will definitely help you out. You will be an ultra runner. The mindset you already have, you are there. You're there. You either want to be or you don't want to be. You're already there. It's just doing the thing that's going to get you there. And the last thing, do the race. Just go do the race, knock it out of the park. And if you want to watch a video on the things to consider once you become one, if you really, really want to become one, go ahead and click right here. Watch that video, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. When you get to middle age and you're being pulled from so many directions, it gets to be hard to concentrate on yourself, and you got to be selfish a little bit. And I don't mean neglect those you love, but I mean there's got to be time where you block off things for you to help protect your health, your mental health, and your ability to be a productive and healthy person, to be there for those people around you. Setting some sort of schedule, a consistency of time to block off for you to do the things, whether it's meditation, reading, exercising, running, doing all of the things that make you make you happy, make you enjoy life. It's a necessity. You have to be able to block those things off and not feel guilty about them. You know, that's definitely something I struggle with because I have so many interests, from running to this YouTube channel and coaching. And I still have to be a present husband and father. And so there is times I feel like there's literally no time for me to breathe. Like I have to be scheduled and I have to be cognizant of where my time is being spent. I have very little downtime. I'm always working on something, whether it's for someone else or for myself. There's never this kind of time to chill. But I think as we grow into that middle-aged time period, there's just so much going on that we have to fight for it, not feel guilty about it. And if it's, talking to your kids and your significant other, to make sure they understand your stance on this stuff, that you are a whole person, and to be a whole person, you have to fight for the things that make you have joy in life and that make you healthy so that you could be there for them. Getting things done early in the morning is kind of how I have to block things off. But recently it's been more centered around my business and YouTube and getting up and taking care of that stuff so that I can be there for the kids to go to school and to go to work. And then I go home and I work on YouTube and things that I need to be there for the family. So there's very little time, a lot of times, for the running. I deprioritize that, but I have to block it off. And I know that when I get it done early in the morning, it makes my day so much better. And one of the key things I've done, as I matured as a distance runner, is that I used to be really tied to making sure I did a certain distance every day, or I reached some time goal. And now I've learned to, especially right now, when I don't have anything really on the plate that I'm training for. And I've built a pretty good base, so I can ramp up pretty good. Been doing this a long time without a ton of effort. I'm happy with shorter runs. If it's 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, I'm happy with it. If that's what I got to do that today, that's what I got to do. And I don't get wrapped around. I do get a lot of people that reach out to me that are in the early stages of distance running, and they're very dogmatic about the distances and are they going to be ready, and time on feet is super important, and so is balance. So my emphasis for me right now is really being happy, just being out, enjoying nature. If I'm walking more because I'm filming, or if I'm doing other things just to be out here longer, it is what it is. I'm happy with that. Not everything is going to be about a race. And, I think taking a break from racing feels good. It really does feel good. The mental health part of the stuff is super important. It serves the mental health for you. It serves as the way that you can bridge what you love into serving people better. So if you're happier, obviously you're going to be better for those around you. And juggling all these things all the time, you got to have that kind of balance in your life. The things that are making you happy will make you better in all other areas. And even when you're out walking, hiking, running, exercising, practicing mindfulness, trying to be in the moment. Stop. I know it's for those of us who are type A, hard driving people, we're out here thinking all the time. But I think it's good to also be in the moment, practice running meditation, thinking, just looking at nature, enjoying what you see around you. I'm sitting here in this beautiful lake right here. It's partially frozen over still. It's a nice mild day, got up into the 50s, so the ice started to melt, but I'm out here enjoying this. It's just beautiful, and so I thought I'd talk to you all about this stuff. And another thing that I think helps us at middle age, from, again, consistency, being a little selfish for ourselves, working on our mental health so that we can be better for those around us. We're also, you need that kind of communal interaction. A lot of times we can be isolated. I am a very isolated person too, but I try to interact with you all as much as possible, just because we're so busy. It's hard to have time to go off and interact with other people. And when you make what we do even a smaller percentage of people, you don't really relate to all people. And if you're somebody who has a lot of running friends, that's awesome. You're very, very fortunate. Not everyone is that way. And as you get into even further distances, it gets even to a smaller pot of people. But sharing your goals, having that accountability with people, being able to talk about things, struggles, gear, and then that's what I offer with the coaching on this channel. If you click join down below, you'll kind of see the list of stuff. It doesn't automatically join you. You can kind of look through that. That's what I kind of provide, the coaching, bouncing ideas off, trial and error. And when you start to realize that you're not alone in these things, that other people have gone through these things, and it kind of makes you feel better. Like, oh, okay, that's why my shins hurt. That's why my plantar fasciitis. That's why I got this chafing. You may be in a period where you're learning, and you can learn quicker. It's kind of a force multiplier when you find people that have been through the things you're going through now. And it just makes you feel normal, which is a hard thing when you're in distance running, to feel normal, because you're not really around a ton of people that feel what you do is normal. So I implore you, if you're not part of a group or anything like that, if you're, a middle-aged person that's kind of getting into shape again, it doesn't have to be distance running, it's anything. You could be a hiker, a walker, just somebody who wants to lift. You're welcome in this group. We're all going through the same struggles right now. We just may do our activities that we love a little differently. You're welcome to be here. So if you're like me, you're a middle-aged runner with family, work, and a lot of obligations, and it seems like we're constantly fighting for time to do the things that we need to do for our health, like running, working out, and the balance, everything's out of balance. And I fight this all of the time, but over the years, I have kind of found some things that help me kind of hack the system, to be able to find the time to fit it in. I've talked about this in other videos, that sometimes there's reasons and excuses, and most of the time you're just given a reason as to why you can't get it in. But if you really, really wanted to, you could. And
I have to call myself out on this all of the time because sometimes stuff is just really hard to get in, and mentally it's hard to fit in just one more thing in the middle of everything, and your brain's really good at finding excuses to not do it. I know mine is. So these are the hacks when I'm really on a streak and I'm really doing well. These are the things I employ that kind of help keep me in the game, keep me moving, whether or not it's the perfect workout or it's just keeping myself moving and not detraining. So the first and foremost, micro runs. I go out now and do shorter runs, like 1 to 2 to 3 or 4 miles. And for some that may seem long, but this means I'm trying to talk about this as it would be understood in like an ultra running training plan. Those are smaller runs. And sometimes the run may be me having to run 8 or 9 miles, but that day all I can get in is 3. So what I do is I go out and I just do some higher intensity stuff. I try to maximize the workout as best I can, whether or not it's running hills or just up-tempo type stuff, fartleks and things like that for that amount of time, so I get my heart rate up and just keep my fitness, even if I'm keeping my fitness moving sideways, that's a good thing. The mere fact that I'm out and moving is a good thing because, one missed workout, second missed workout, then you're on a streak. You don't want that. You want to get something in. Something is better than nothing. I also stand at my desk all day. I walk as much as I can just to keep myself moving because time on feet is super important. Secondly, this one I did a couple years ago when I was training for the Yeti 100, and I successfully completed that race. I power walked, ran with family. Whether I was in a stroller, having to go on an 8 or 10 mile run with my 5-year-old at that point, I think 3 or 4, in a stroller, and running from one playground to the next. And I just had to get it in. Well, yeah, it took me way longer, and that's okay because it was a time on feet thing. And I got to spend time with my daughter. I do this with my wife. My wife is also trying to keep her fitness going. So going out with her, power hiking with her, power hiking hills. I mean, we're going 8 miles power hiking. I mean, really good pace. And if you run ultras, you know that power hiking is a superpower. If you can power hike at 13 and a half minute mile, that's a real good talent to have. So just being flexible and kind to yourself and understanding not every workout's going to be exactly what you're supposed to be doing on that day, but something is better than nothing. Keep moving. You got to keep that momentum to help keep that discipline so that you don't fall off, because it is very easy to. Another thing that I do, I always have my backpack filled with running shorts, fuel, water, shoes, all of it. I have it on me all the time. I mean, I don't literally wear it all the time, but when I get up in the morning, I take it to work. Even if I'm not planning a run that day, just in case. I'm going to one of my kids' practices, I take it with me there. Even if I don't know where I'm going to be. Sometimes when we play games and stuff like that, I don't know if there's going to be any area to run in. I take it just in case, and then I end up finding new trails, new areas to run, go to a field that's got a nice path around the field, and I can just go all day long. But I take that backpack everywhere I go so that I don't have an excuse to this would have been really good to, not waste this 2 to 3 hours. I can go get a run, power hike, something in. And I do that every single day. Before I go to bed, I pack the bag, and it's got everything in it. It's got everything that you would need to run in it, and there's no excuse. So the easier you make it so that you can make the decision to run, the better you're going to be. It's the same thing where we always heard, prep your stuff the night before, sleep in your running clothes, stuff like that. It's just, you want to minimize the amount of barriers to getting out the door or to just getting moving forward. So that's what you need to do. Commute. I've done this one. I got roughly 7 miles to where I work. I've made that commute several times where I'll leave a bag at work the day before, then I'll get up that morning and I'll run to work, shower, and not everyone can do this. Put work clothes on, put a different set of running clothes, and then run home. And that way, that day, I can get 14 miles in, broken up over 2 runs. Some people have a little more treacherous ways to get to work, or they can't run to work, or it's too far. So that's understood, but it is something you can do. I see people biking to work all the time. I do have one stretch of about half a mile that's is the reason I don't do it as much as I need to, because it's not got much of a shoulder in it. So keep safety in mind, but commuting is a great way to get extra miles in. Late at night, so earlier in my ultra running career, my distance running career, when I was in, and I could stay up late, it's a little harder for me now. I would do my long run sometimes at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and be done around 1. I know it's not ideal, but it gave me two types of training. It got me like the sleep deprivation, being tired, and getting the long distance run in late at night when I wasn't taking time away from family, which is what I try to avoid as much as possible. There's sometimes I can't, and it's okay. I can have some time to myself, like long runs on Sundays or Saturdays, or just switching the days, to fit around family schedules and or commitments we have. But early mornings, late at nights, it's not ideal. These are not the most ideal situations, but they're situations that keep you in the game, that keep you moving, because it is very easy to fall off. And I know I'm repeating myself, but having done this so many times, having times where I've stopped running, or I've just felt like I've had too many days in a row, and I get down on myself, and then it just, depression sets in, and the little things start to happen, and then you found out you're not running for 2 weeks. You don't want to do that. You want to keep moving, because I know when a lot of people are new runners, you can be very discouraged by these obstacles, and it could knock you out. Because you're like, I'm supposed to run 5-mile tempo runs a day, but I don't have time. And you stress that you can't get the workout in. I used to do that. Like, if I couldn't run at least 5 or 6 miles minimum, I just wouldn't do the run. It would make me mad, because I would be like, it's not even worth sweating up my clothes to go run 3 miles. And honestly, that's how I thought. It's like, it's just not worth the time. It's not the workout I'm doing that day. And I would skip it. And I'd skip another one because it's, softball and baseball season, and I just don't have time. And then I missed 2 weeks or something like that. Like, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous way to think. And I've changed that as I've gotten older. And you'll see, if you follow me on Strava, there'll be a 16-minute mile, 3-mile power hike because I'm watching a softball game or something like that. Like, just, you got to keep moving forward, especially at middle age. You got to just keep moving. It's better to do something than nothing.
Hello, I'm John from Motivation Theory Running, and welcome to our community focused on running, health, and personal growth. With over 10 years as an East Coast ultra runner, I'm a UESCA certified ultra running coach, and I'm here to share 4 crucial steps for transitioning from road running to ultra marathon. So let's get right into it. Step number 1, building endurance. First, increase your weekly mileage by no more than 10%. This gradual approach helps you prevent injuries. If you're currently running 30 miles a week, you want to aim for probably 33 a week, and then kind of increase from there based on your training plan. In ultra running, time on feet is paramount. I push this more than any mileage. Time on feet isn't just about covering distance, it's about how long you can sustain movement, simulating race day conditions where racing can last from 6 hours to 24 to 48 hours or more. It builds mental toughness, helping runners cope with fatigue, boredom, and psychological challenges. It's tough out there. Physically, it conditions your muscles, tendons, and joints to the prolonged stress of running, while also allowing you to perfect your nutrition and hydration strategy. Time on feet training teaches pacing for energy conservation. That's what I do. It prepares you for night running and informs recovery practices, incorporating long, slow runs and back-to-back sessions where the focus is on duration rather than speed is crucial. Ultimately, success in ultra running marathons often hinges on who can keep moving the longest. Overloading your body with too much mileage too quickly can lead to overuse injuries like stress fractures or tendonitis. By increasing slowly, you allow your muscles, tendons, and bones to adapt in a safe manner. Incorporating long, slow distance or your long, slow run into your routine. You want to start with a comfortable distance, like 15 miles or so, depending on where you are in your training cycle, and slowly increase this over time. It's about that time on feet, not so much the distance. Long, slow distance or long, slow runs are not about speed, but they're about teaching your body to be more efficient at using fat for energy, which is beneficial when your glycogen stores deplete during ultra distances, and that's your bonking. Scheduling back-to-back long runs to simulate Fatigue and recovery cycle of an ultra is crucial. You might want to run 20 miles one day and followed by 10 the next. This prepares your body for consecutive days of running, and it really stresses your body, and then recovery. This practice mimics multi-day efforts of an ultra marathon, helping you to manage fatigue and understand how your body recovers between these very long, tough efforts. Experiment with different nutritional options while running. Find what works with your stomach and agrees with your stomach over a long period. Practice with energy gels, bars, and real food like bananas or peanut butter sandwiches, whatever they have at the aid stations. You got to get used to eating that stuff and find what works best for you. I find real food works for me. Nutrition is highly individual. I'll repeat this. Nutrition is highly individual. What works for one runner might not work for another runner, especially over long distances. Testing and training prevents gastrointestinal distress on race day. You don't want to have that happen. Prioritizing sleep and recovery. Probably the most important thing here. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. Quality sleep is where recovery happens, enhancing both your physical and mental readiness for training. Sleep is when your body repairs its muscles. Again, I always say it's not separate from training. It is part of training. When you sleep, your body repairs muscles. It consolidates memories from training, that muscle memory, and regulates hormones like cortisol and growth hormone, which are vital for recovery. You want to establish a regular sleep schedule and create a cool, dark, and quiet bedroom environment and avoid screens before bedtime. Limit caffeine intake, which is tough for me, in the afternoon, that is, and consider a short nap if it fits your schedule. I've been doing this now for a couple years. Good sleep hygiene practices help you regulate your circadian rhythm, extremely important, ensuring you fall asleep faster and enjoy a deeper, more restorative sleep. Rest days. On rest days, engage in activities like swimming or yoga. This type of recovery is active recovery, and it keeps your muscles active and helping reduce the stiffness while promoting healing. Active recovery promotes blood flow to the muscles without the impact of running. You're not trying to recover by also running. Aiding in faster recovery and flexibility. So post-run, focus on proteins for muscle repair, carbohydrates for energy replenishment, and hydration for overall recovery. A balanced meal or a shake with these components can be very effective, and that's what I love. An after run shake. Your body needs the right nutrients. I cannot stress this enough. In the recovery window to rebuild and refuel. This helps in reducing muscle soreness and preparing for the next workout, which is just as important as the workout. Mental preparation is key also. Prepare for the mental challenges of ultra running. Techniques like focusing on breathing or setting small, reachable goals during runs can keep you mentally strong. It is tough out there, and that's going to be the thing that's going to save you. Ultra running often comes down to mental fortitude. I say it's mostly about that once you do these races for a long time. Managing your mindset can make the difference between finishing and having a DNF, dropping out of a race. Visualize your race day experience from the start to the finish line. Daily meditation can also help be a very powerful tool to manage the stress and maintain focus during races. Context and visualization helps also. So mentally rehearsing the race, reducing anxiety, improving performance by familiarizing your mind with the success, thinking about the race and where you're going to struggle and what you're going to do to overcome that, because you know it's coming. Break your race down into segments. Each mile or aid station becomes kind of a goal. This approach keeps you motivated, and it makes the ultra distance less daunting. It's segmenting the race into smaller achievable parts is what you got to do. You can't think about the whole thing. This can make the distance feel more manageable, especially in those 100-milers and plus, and keep you engaged throughout. It helps that kind of gamification of it. Running with others or having a buddy for part of the race is super crucial. It definitely can help you finish a race. Running solo, which is good sometimes, it can get tough out there. This can provide that emotional support, having someone there with you, whether it's a pacer or just another runner. Even in training, having company can make long runs feel easier and more enjoyable, which keeps you on the path to success. Companionship can't be overstated in these. It can provide that psychological relief, the motivation, a sense of community while you're running, which is an invaluable thing in ultra running. I can't explain how important it is to have someone there sometimes to help you. Let's talk a little bit about gear and strategy. You want to choose gear tailored for ultra running. Test trail shoes, hydration packs, and nutrition carriers. So you got to have a good vest. I got some hanging up back here. During training, you want to test these during training to ensure they meet the needs on race day. You don't want them chafing, and they need to work carrying everything you have. So the right gear can make or break your ultra experience. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it happen to me. So again, I'm going to repeat this. The right gear can make or break your ultra experience. Comfortable, reliable equipment that you've tested reduces the risk of blisters, chafing, or gear failure. Adopting a slower pacing strategy than you're thinking it's going to help you. So start slower than you might think is necessary. Employ a run-walk strategy from the beginning can help you conserve energy over long distances. So, starting too fast can lead to early fatigue. Obviously, if you're a road runner, you understand this concept. A conservative approach ensures that you have energy to finish strong in a race, especially if you're brand new. Don't overdo it. Plan your aid station stops. Know what you need, your hydration, your nutrition, your gear, the gear changes you may need, and aim to be in and out quickly. Don't hang out. Do not hang out at the aid stations. Time management here is key. So efficient aid station use can help save you significant time and energy, preventing you from losing momentum during a race. Next, stick to what you've tested. So if you train for things, and try to stick to those things. I know things happen, but try to stick to those. Introduction of new foods or drinks during race day can lead to digestive issues. So trust what you know and what's worked for you and what you've tested. Race day isn't the time to experiment with nutrition. I'm guilty of this, but it's not. Consistency in what you eat and drink ensures your stomach handles it well over the long haul. To transition to ultramarathons, focusing on endurance, recovery, mental preparation, and smart strategy is key. Whether you're new to running or an experienced marathoner, these steps can guide you in your journey. Every step forward is a step towards your goals and in finishing and in getting there. So if you're eager to start running but feel out of shape, overwhelmed with a busy schedule, or managing stress, this is my life. I deal with this every single day. Or if you're just simply trying to muster the motivation, I have some essential tips to help guide you in this video. So to kick things off, it's important to emphasize the value of just starting, to get moving. Hey everyone, John here from Motivation Theory Running, and if you are 35 or over, whether you've been pounding the pavement for decades or you're just about to start, this video is tailored just for you. We're going to explore how to keep running in a smart, safe, and enjoyable way as we age. So let's dive right in. First off, let's talk about how to begin or get back into running. So picture this, whether you're a new runner, perhaps maybe you've been out of the running scene for quite a while due to life's commitments. Believe me, I have been there many, many times and documented it on this channel. Comebacks are hard, but they're definitely worth it. You want to start with some short runs, maybe just run for a couple minutes, jog for a couple minutes, then walk for 5 or 10 minutes. And you want to do this for a couple weeks. Or if you're feeling more adventurous, aim to cover a quarter of a mile. Maybe just, for example, you live near a park. You run from one bench to the next bench, or one from light pole to the next light pole. And for ultra runners out there, returning from a heavy race schedule and you've been off for quite a while just recovering, this could mean scaling back just a couple of miles at a conversational pace, waiting to get things back up, getting greased up, getting oiled up. Motion is lotion, as the saying goes. This approach helps build your base without overwhelming your body. Next, let's discuss progression. Imagine you've been running for a month and you're feeling really good. Now, instead of doubling your distance overnight, because I know it's quite tempting sometimes to just start great increases to your running schedule, you don't want to do that. You want to increase by no more than 10% weekly, and sometimes that can be hard. You got to be disciplined. So if you ran 3 miles this week, next week you want to try for maybe 3.3. This isn't just a numbers game. It's about allowing your body, your muscle, your tendons, your joints to adapt, and the fascia, all that stuff, to get used to the pounding on your feet again. Think of it like this. If you're an ultra runner, you wouldn't just jump from a 50K to a 100-mile race. Maybe that's a bad example. A lot of us do that out there, but you probably shouldn't just do that without some training. You want to take some responsible and healthy intermediate steps in between those distances. The same principle applies here, but on a smaller scale if you're just starting off. Listening to your body is crucial. Let's say you're out on a run and you start to feel a sharp pain in your knee. You may just want to walk instead, power hike up the hill. Ultra runners know this well. After a long race, the body signals when it's time for recovery, not more running, even though it's hard to kind of back off a little bit. Rest days aren't just a suggestion, they're a necessity. Using them to do light activities like yoga or stretching or swimming, which can aid in recovery without stressing your body even further. Now let's get practical with scheduling. Imagine your week is packed with work, family duties, and maybe some social commitments. It's just taking over your week. You need to treat runs like an essential part of your schedule. And if you're a morning person, maybe that's when you take advantage of the morning hours. Get up a little bit earlier. Maybe get up at 30 minutes earlier than you're normally going to get up. Get something in. Get a run in. Get a walk in. Get the weightlifting in. Or if you're at work, use your lunchtime if you can do that for a quick 20-minute run or a workout, just to do something, especially if you're starting off. You need to keep that momentum, that consistency going so that you don't just stop, because it's really easy, especially at the beginning when you're getting back into things, to kind of stop. You're just feeling unmotivated. You're feeling like, what does it really matter? You have to block off that time and take advantage of the time you can make instead of the time you just have, which could be eaten up by everything else. So set reminders on your phone. Use an app like Strava or Runkeeper to plan and track your runs. Even if life throws you curveballs, those 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you can squeeze in, can make a huge difference. And it definitely does with consistency. Investing in the right gear is investing in your health. So let's say you've been in the same sneakers for 8 years. I know plenty of people just wear the same running shoes for forever. It's time for an upgrade. Visit a specialty running store where they can analyze your gait and suggest some shoes that will support your running style, your foot style, how you plant your foot, your gait, all of that kind of stuff. Get in the right shoe. And for clothing, think about what you already have that's comfortable. You can get away with a lot with running, but steer clear of cotton and basketball shorts when running. I see people running in this stuff. Move on from that and get some respectable, functional running clothing. Remember, a good pair of socks can also make a huge difference in preventing blisters. Don't short yourself on the socks and the shoes. You don't want to get blisters, because then that's definitely an excuse to stop running. Motivation can fluctuate, but here's how to keep it steady. Set goals that feel achievable. And maybe for new runners, it's running 3 or 4 times a week, or for ultra runners, it's competing in a race and not getting injured. That may be a good goal. It's hard sometimes out there for us. Celebrate these milestones. Post a picture of your run on social media, share it with your running group, or treat yourself to something you enjoy. Joining or forming a running group yourself can be a game changer when it comes to motivation and creating a community around you. I did that a long time ago, and now look where we are. And perhaps there's a local group that meets at the park near your house or in your neighborhood. Every Saturday, you could join them and just take off, and you have someone to run with always. Built-in motivation and accountability right there. Or you could start one yourself. Be that guy or gal. Sharing the journey with others who understand the highs and lows of running can be incredibly motivating. Running isn't just for your physical health. It's a mental health booster. And imagine you've had a stressful week, and instead of reaching for another cup of coffee, right here, sorry, I'm guilty. Put on your running shoes, get out there and get moving. The endorphins from a run can lift your mood, clear your mind, and help you manage stress or anxiety. It definitely does help me. And for those of you who are over 35, running can be especially beneficial for cognitive function, keeping your mind sharp as we all age. Engaging with the running community can transform the experience of running. Think of the last time you shared a story about a challenging run, or ask for advice at dealing with an injury. It's always good to bounce that stuff off each other. I do it all the time. That connection can be invaluable, whether it's through your local club where you meet weekly for runs, or online forum where you discuss everything from nutrition to race strategies. These interactions can keep you inspired and informed. Do it right here on this channel or in the Strava group. We're all here for you. Remember, running is about the long haul. It's not just about reaching a finish line, but enjoying the journey, improving your health, and maintaining mobility and mental clarity over the years. Embrace each step, learn from every run, and look forward to the personal growth that comes with it. Running over 35 isn't about outpacing your younger self. It's difficult to do that. It's going to be a rough time if you're constantly worried about what you used to do. It's about enjoying running in a way that's sustainable and fulfilling and healthy for you and for me. Start small, progress wisely, listen to your body, plan your time well so you're not always stressed, gear up with the right stuff, connect with others, and appreciate running not as an exercise but as a lifestyle.
So welcome to today's discussion on how to revolutionize your endurance training through principles of periodization. Whether you're a seasoned ultra runner or just starting out with trail running, understanding these concepts can significantly boost your performance and keep injuries at bay. So let's begin with the concept of periodization. This is a training philosophy that was meticulously crafted by Tudor Bompa and other Eastern Bloc coaches during the Cold War era. They were aiming to win Olympic medals by optimizing training cycles. So the core idea of periodization is to systematically change the focus and workload of your training to maximize gains from both overload and a recovery standpoint. Imagine training being like a book. Each year you add a chapter or a cycle that focus on different aspects like building endurance, strength training, power, or peaking for a competition, ensuring that you're always ready, that you're always adapting, getting better, but never stagnating. Now let's dive into what is called intervals. Interval training, my favorite, which has its roots tracing back to the 1930s with Waldemar Gerschler. He took the Swedish concept of the fartlek, which we all love that word here in America, which means speed play, and structured it into what we now recognize as interval training. This method involves alternating high intensity bursts with recovery periods, allowing athletes to work harder than they could with one long continuous training run, thereby enhancing their aerobic capacity and speed. And to understand how this fits into periodization, you need to consider the 5 workout components you can manipulate in training. First, intensity. This is how hard you're pushing yourself. Running, where precise measurement like power meters in cycling isn't always available. We rely on rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. This intensity dictates whether you're working on your aerobic endurance or even your VO2 max. Next, it's volume. This isn't about how far you run, but how much time you spend at a specific intensity. For example, if your goal is to improve your lactate threshold, you might break a 60-minute session into 10-minute intervals with recovery between, allowing you to accumulate more time at intensity, which is important, than you could in just one continuous effort. Frequency and repetition. So how often do you do these workouts? How many times you repeat each exercise within a session? These things can dramatically affect your training outcomes. It's not just about doing more, it's about doing it right with enough recovery to ensure each session is high quality. And then there's the environment, and I'm not talking about how beautiful it is outside. And this is about where and how you run. Running uphill can stimulate race conditions, increase your workload, or even protect you against injuries by changing the impact dynamics. Running on trail, perfect. Even a treadmill can offer controlled, repeatable conditions to work on pace or motivation. Sometimes it's hard getting it in, and that's where the only place you can't. So, running cadence, stride rate. While we naturally find an economical strides, we climb over this. Changing can be beneficial in ultra running, where adapting to different terrains like that, or conserving energy over a long distance is extremely key. A shorter, quicker stride rate might spare your legs. We do that in ultras, through the tougher parts. So now, how do you put all of this into practice? Well, you start by assessing your current fitness level and your goals. So if you're training for a hilly race, incorporate more uphill intervals. Makes sense. And if you're working on your speed, focus more on shorter, faster efforts with intervals than full recovery. Remember, the beauty of this system it's about flexibility, and you can tailor each session to meet your body's needs at the moment, and adapting your training as needed to progress, or as your schedule allows. You can make these changes. You need to be flexible. However, one thing to keep in mind is you need recovery. Do not forget recovery. You need this climb. That's fun. Very timely. So, training too hard without rest can lead to overtraining. I see it time and time again with runners. Periodization inherently includes recovery cycles so that your body can adapt without breaking down. So as you plan your training, think of it as an art and not a science. Don't be so dogmatic. Each workout is a brushstroke on the canvas of your athletic journey. Take it easy on yourself. And with periodization and interval training, you're not just running, you're strategically planning a path to peak performance. So now let's talk about how we can implement these training principles. For instance, let's say you have an upcoming trail race with significant elevation changes. Here's how you could structure a week of training with periodization in mind. So Monday, it's recovery or active recovery, maybe a gentle ride on the bike, yoga session to keep the muscles loose and moving and getting the blood flowing, everything going through them. Tuesday, interval training. You want to do your interval uphill workout, mimic race conditions. Start with 4 to 6 intervals or 2 to 3 minutes at pace so that it's challenging but sustainable. And with 3 minutes of easy jogging or walking in between for recovery. Wednesday, you might take a longer steady state run and at a conversational pace and build that aerobic base, that aerobic endurance. If you can, include some natural hill climbs to work on your climbing. You got to work on the things, race-specific type stuff. You want to work on your technique and stamina. Thursday, strength training. It's a strength training day. You need to be strong, especially if you're in middle age. You need to focus on exercise that support running, like squats, lunges, the core workouts, which I really need. This helps with injury prevention and boosting running economy. Friday, another session of intervals. But this time, change it up a little bit. Maybe do some shorter, faster intervals on flat ground to work on speed or sprints if you're looking to increase your top end speed. Saturday, long run day. This is where you put together the week's work, run along, but keep the intensity low. If your race has technical sessions, try to include something very similar in your long run. And Sunday, rest or light activity. This is crucial unless you're going to do back-to-back long runs, but we're not incorporating that right now. You want to use this day for recovery and allowing your body to adapt to the week's hard training. And by cycling through these types of sessions, you're not just training harder, you're training smarter. Each week, you can adjust the intensity, the volume, and focus based on your feedback that you're getting from your workouts. For example, if you feel particularly fatigued, you may want to rest. You may want to reduce the amount of volume that you're accumulating and lower the mileage on your long run and the intensity of your intervals. You got to be able to adjust, to adapt. And remember, listening to your body is key. And if you feel like you're on the verge of overtraining, don't do it. It may be time to extend your recovery phase or reduce the intensity of your workouts. Moreover, consider the annual plan. Back up a little bit, open the aperture. Periodization isn't just about week to week. It's about your complete training plan across all the months. You may have a base phase where you focus on long, slow distance, followed by a build phase where you introduce more intensity, and then a peak phase where you fine-tune everything for race day. And finally, recovery phase, my favorite phase. You want to do this, man, it's windy out here, and prepare for the next cycle. Lastly, engage with your community or coach. Reach out to me and share your experiences and ask for feedback, or even join a session where you can learn from others their approach to periodization and interval training. Running isn't just about being a physical endeavor. It is a community learning experience. So go out there, apply these principles, keep pushing your limits while respecting the body's need for rest and recovery. I'll see you out here on the trails. It's a beautiful one today. Take care.
Today, I'll share 7 habits of highly successful distance runners. I've learned that success in distance running isn't just about logging miles. It's about building habits that support long-term health, progress, and enjoyment. First habit, set clear, multi-layered goals. Successful runners don't rely solely on race day targets like finishing times. They layer in progress goals for daily habits such as committing to consistent sleep or nutrition, performance goals for measurable improvements like building strength, speed, and outcome goals for events like completing a specific ultra or marathon. This approach keeps motivation steady because it focuses on controllable actions rather than just results. Review them regularly and adapt, ensuring you build confidence without overwhelming pressure that you're placing on yourself with these big efforts. Second habit, prioritize enjoyment in every run. The best runners treat training as something rewarding in and of itself, not just a means to an end. They vary routes to explore new trails, run with friends for social connection, or incorporate elements like listening to audiobooks or podcasts to make sessions more engaging. By focusing on the positive aspects, you prevent burnout and sustain passion over years. For instance, turning a tough hill into a chance to appreciate the scenery can shift your mindset from obligation to fulfillment. Got to find some way to love doing hills. Third habit, build unbreakable consistency. Top distance runners emphasize steady, sustainable efforts over intense bursts. They aim for regular, mostly easy runs that accumulate into a strong base, stacking days. I know you've heard me say that before. Prioritizing showing up even on days off with shorter sessions, even if they have no time, they get in what they need to do what they need to do to get towards their goals. This habit compounds benefits like improved endurance and resilience, reducing injury risk. Track it simply in a journal to spot patterns, or online, making notes in your phone or Strava, if that's where you like to go. And remember that missing a day isn't failure. It's not the end of the world. It's about an overall pattern of persistence. Fourth habit, train at multiple speeds and efforts. Successful runners avoid getting stuck in one place by incorporating a variety of easy run, zone 2 runs for aerobic development, tempo runs for sustained speed, and intervals for power, and long, slow distances for endurance. This builds a well-rounded fitness profile, preventing plateaus and making races more efficient. Start by following an 80-20 rule where 80% is your easy, 20% is the harder workouts, to allow adaptation without overload and adjust based on how your body responds. Fifth habit, treat recovery as a core part of training. This has been the biggest evolution in my running journey over the last 12 years. Elite runners view rest as essential work. They ensure 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep nightly for hormone balance and muscle repair. Fuel with balanced meals, emphasizing carbs for energy, protein for rebuilding, and fats for sustained efforts, and include active recovery like walking or yoga. Neglecting this leads to fatigue or injury, so build routines like post-run stretching or monitoring soreness to signal when to ease up. Turning recovery into a strength rather than an afterthought is super key to being successful. Now on to the sixth habit. Stay curious and keep learning. I've done this my entire career. I think the more I learn, the less I know now. I don't know how it works, but I just know that there is so much to learn, so much to know out there. You can never know it all. The most enduring runners are perpetual students of this sport. They read books on training and nutrition, experiment safely with new techniques like different fueling strategies, and analyze their own runs through logs or apps to refine their approach to training. This curiosity turns challenges into opportunities for growth. Keeping things fresh and adaptive, dedicate time each week, perhaps during a recovery run or with a podcast, to explore one new idea, ensuring you evolve without chasing fads. The seventh habit, maintain perspective and balance. Highly successful runners integrate running into a fuller life. They celebrate achievements outside of training, like family time or hobbies, and accept the setbacks, like a bad run, as a temporary thing, not a defining moment in their life. This habit preserves mental health, longevity by preventing obsession. Practice it through gratitude, reflections after runs, or occasional breaks to recharge and let your whole body reset. Remind yourself that running enhances your life rather than consuming it. Setting layered goals, enjoying the process, valuing consistency, training variability, prioritizing recovery, staying curious, and keeping a well thought out perspective have transformed my own running and helped those I coach. What I wish I knew before running my first ultra marathon. My first ultra marathon happened 12, 13 years ago. I think it was 2014. It was the Belmonte 50 miler, which is actually 51.9 miles, a double marathon over top of two mountains and back. That last 1.9 miles is miserable when you sign up for a 50 miler. It sounds okay when you're starting what's 1.9 more miles. But when I went into that race, I went in completely blind. I had no reference point on ultras. There was very little on the internet at that point. It's kind of why I started this channel. So my research was just reading race reports. So it's kind of hard to get a visual. I had no idea of the terrain really, other than some of the pictures, the elevation change. So I went in blind to not only what I was going to go do, I knew it was long, I knew it was going to be hard, but no idea what that was. I'd run road 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and marathons. That was my experience with running all on the roads. I think I ran one trail half marathon. It was a rail to trail, super flat, so it was not even close to what I was getting ready to get myself into. But one thing for sure, I was excited. I think I was 38 years old, was young, and yeah, that's what I was going into. So number one, I want you, if you're going to be going into your first one, or if you have already run these, you'll understand. Embrace the challenge. It's going to be hard. If you've never done anything like that, if you're not a trail runner and you're going to go run a mountainous trail race, it's going to be hard. And I'm not saying that in a joking way. I'm being serious. Like, you need to understand you're getting yourself into surmounts to like a fight. You're going to have to battle through this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be harder than you even think it was. My first one was harder than I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was going to be hard. It pushed me to limits. It pushed me to places that I had not ever been mentally. And now reflecting on it, it was a great thing, because it pushed me to a point that I grew. I grew through that adversity. And now I know what I'm getting myself into. And sometimes that's harder. Sometimes knowing that the pain is coming, sometimes not knowing things helps. It's kind of hard to explain unless you've been through it. It's going to be hard. It's going to suck at points, but I promise you, when you finish, you will be a new person. If this is your first ultra marathon, it will change you. It will expose your mind to things you didn't know you could go through. Number two, prioritizing nutrition. Again, coming in from road races where you just pop a gel every once in a while. This was new to me. I had no idea how much to eat. Hydration, obviously, to what I thought I needed when I was going through. Electrolytes at that point, I don't even think I really thought about it. I think Gatorade was just like, I'll just do some Gatorade. I again went in completely blind, ate when I needed to, got really hungry because I wasn't used to eating that much food. I was burning a ton. This race had 10,000 feet of elevation gain, and the mountain climbs just got to you burning tons of calories, and it just wasn't used to that. Wasn't used to coming to an aid station, eating chips and Oreos and peanut butter and jellies, and just, I hadn't really experimented with dealing with all that. So I wish I would have known how to better fuel myself, because it was a long, hard day, and I made it harder on myself by not being prepared for certain things. Pacers and crew, super critical. I run a lot now without that, but at the beginning, I don't think I would have finished my first race had I not had a pacer for probably 19 miles of that. Just, it helped take my mind off of what I was doing, helped me through low spots to kind of keep me focused. And ultimately, that's what pacers are there to do. They're to help you finish the job, to do the job you're there to do when your brain starts to withdraw. And just passing time. You get bored in these long races. There's a lot of time by yourself in your head. If you're fast, 8 hours, 7 hours. If you're slower, you're going to get into the 10, 11, 12, 13 hour range. And it's just a lot of time on your feet, a lot of time to think about the pain, a lot of time to think about why you're doing this, because you will question probably quit and say, I'm never doing this again. And you won't. You'll do it again. I know very few people who've only ran one and then been done. It's not like marathons. People continue to do these things. They come back for more. Hydration and electrolytes. This was another thing I just, like I mentioned before, just didn't have a clue how much electrolytes and hydration was going to come into play. I thought I just drank when I was thirsty. It was more than that. Electrolytes now I know can turn your race around. A lot of people run low on those in races and just don't think about it. They're not taking enough of sodium, potassium, and all of the things your body needs. Once those things get replenished, you really start to feel bad. And a lot of times you'll see a race completely turn around. You pop several salt pills, and electrolyte pills, and you're just like, wow, I feel so much better now. And when you're pushing that razor's edge of what your body can do, it's super important that you take care of it and replenish the things that you're burning off. I don't think I really knew anything about that stuff at that point, other than athletics, where like, you need to take a salt pill, or you need to drink Gatorade or something like that. Like, I just didn't understand how important it was to not only performance, but just how you feel. How you feel in ultras is super important. You're going to feel bad a lot, but you're going to feel good a lot. And it's going to kind of cyclically go through that pattern. But you need to know it's problem solving. So you need to know how to get yourself out of the low point. Sometimes it's just a mental game to push yourself through it. Sometimes just eating will make you feel better, and taking electrolytes and water and things that will just make you feel better, your body perform better, and that will then change your brain. So I wish I would have known that stuff. It would have made my day much, much better. Research the course. Much easier these days than it was back 10, 12, 13 years ago. There just wasn't a lot of information other than some pictures and or race reports. And now people still do race reports, and they're interesting, but now everything's videoed. You know, people like me out there recording the race, recording the terrain, doing after race reports of everything. So you can go into a course completely prepared for what you're going to go through for the most part. Now, you know, the race that I went into had peaks of just under 4,000 feet. I don't live in an area that has peaks like that, so it was a lot longer climbs. It was kind of hard for me where I am to train for that, other than, you know, getting on the treadmill and climbing a lot more. But nowadays, you can, if you live in an area, you can train very similar to the race. You can get as much vert as the race does per mile. So if you know if the race you're going to go into is 100 feet of gain per mile, like, you can train for that. Maybe not specifically, maybe you can't go, up 1,500 feet in a half a mile, like maybe the race, like I think this race was like that. It felt like that. There's switchbacks that you're going up, and if you can't train specifically for that, you can do the best you can. Prepare your legs, prepare mentally for those climbs, because they are taxing and they are draining, and they're going to make you want to quit. And I'll throw in this extra one. Prepare, especially if you're doing mountain races, prepare for tops of mountains and the time of day you're going to be in, because a lot of times you're going to get hot during the day, you're going to get cold at night, and especially on some of those climbs, if it's late at night, you're going to get colder than you think you're going to, and it can definitely mess with your day, and it can scare you. Specifically in this race, I was pushing towards the back of the pack. I was probably in the bottom 5 to 10 people, and I was with some of the people who ran off course and had to get back on, and they were demoralized. I'm passing those, but my last mountain climb, I had run out of water several miles before it. I had a 1,500 foot climb up a switchback. I was low on electrolytes. I was low on food. I had no water, and I was scared because I had never been through this before. And I know that I was going to have to go up this mountain, over the mountain, and still probably run another 6 or 7 miles to get to the finish. And my brain just kind of shut off, saying, you're not going to be able to do this. This is too much. It's dangerous. And I had to battle. I sat down on the trail almost in tears, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because again, I had no reference point. So I did what you're supposed to do. Get up, put one foot in front of the other, and I kept moving, got up the climb, got back to the other side of the mountain, to the last aid station, made the cutoff, and just miserable. If you could have pulled me off the course, if I could have gotten off the course, I might have done it. But the only way to finish was to keep going forward. There was no bailing. There was no exit. There was nothing I could do, because I'm in the middle of nowhere coming down a mountain, and no one was there to save me. I had to save myself. The cutoff back then was like, because it's 51.9 miles, and the cutoff was, I think, 12 hours. Super aggressive cutoff for this race. It's not an easy race. It's definitely not a race you want to do for your first race. I got close to that cutoff. I think I I don't know how close I was, but it wasn't too far behind me. I finished, I think, about 13 hours. So it was after the cutoff. At that point, I think they had decided they were going to extend the cutoff for this race. And I think after that, they changed the cutoff to 13 hours. And now it's 14 hours in the race. Like, I think they started realizing how aggressive those cutoffs. And now they have a new course, and I think it's a little less vert, not a ton less. I think about 8,700 feet of climb. I think it was closer to 10 when I did it. And they've had to extend the cutoffs to like 14 hours now, I think, just to be more friendly to people, because it was not a good first race. I was miserable. I got through it, and I learned a ton. And that's what you need to understand. Your first is going to be a learning experience. Learn everything you can. You're not going to do it perfect. You can prepare for everything. Lots of different things can go sideways on you, but now it's a lot easier to prepare yourself. So these are the things I wish I would have learned and knew prior to my first one, but you got to learn the hard way sometimes.
So if you're struggling with your running career, whether it be road or trail, ultramarathons, it's not because you're not driven and you're not motivated. It's because you lack structure. So what is a 14-day training cycle? First off, let's forget about the traditional 7-day weekly plans that cram everything into Monday through Sunday. My 14-day cycle is like a 2-week rhythmic thing that repeats throughout your training program. It's a loop of runs, strength sessions, cross-training, and most importantly, built-in rest days. For example, in the beginner marathon plan, day 1 might be an easy run, day 7 a long run, and day 8 a back-to-back easy effort type run, the back-to-back long runs. And day 14 would be a complete rest day. Then you loop back to day 1 with the next week adjusted durations from the progression table that also comes in this plan. No need to track complicated weeks, just follow the cycle and adjust based on the plan's table. This spreads out the hard stuff, giving your body time to adapt without feeling like you're always on. Using the cycle is easy. Step 1, print or save your plan's 14-day template and progression table. Mark your start date and note the phase, example, your base building phase in weeks 1 through 4. Step 2, follow the daily activities that I have set out in there for you. In order, easy runs on the roads or paths, strength sessions 2 to 3 times per cycle, and rest when it says rest. Now, if life happens, and it always does, work, illness, I'm battling something right now, swap a run for a cross-training day or shift a day or have a rest day. The cycle is very flexible. Step 3, adjust durations weekly from the progression table. For example, in week 5, your long run jumps to 160 minutes. Track your RPE, which is your effort level, to stay easy, and walk if needed. Step 4, incorporate the extras. Do mobility on rest days, fuel during long runs. You want to practice those gels every 45 minutes, and hit the mindset focus daily. Ultras are mental. Running is mental just as much as it is physical. You're going to have to practice. Step 5, repeat the cycle until race week. Tapering is shown. If a phase feels too tough, hold it for a whole cycle and progress at your own pace. No overthinking, just consistent action that builds you up safely. Now, why 14 days? It's not random. It's rooted in how your body and mind actually adapt to training. Science shows that muscular repair and adaptation take 48 hours to 72 hours after a hard effort, not just 24, not just overnight. A 7-day week often crams long runs, strength training, and speed too close together, leading to fatigue, higher injury risk, like the stress fractures that people get on the roads, plantar fasciitis and stuff like that, and burnout, especially for beginners or very busy folks who are trying to cram it all in. Now, the 14-day cycle spreads this out. More recovery buffers let your body supercompensate, which means get stronger from the stress, aligning with natural recovery rhythms. It stimulates multi-day fatigue, which is great for marathon or wall prep while preventing overtraining syndrome. Studies on endurance athletes confirm extended cycles improve performance and adherence by balancing the load. Runners stick with it longer because it fits real life, reducing the dropout rates. It's about the mental sustainability also. Shorter bursts of effort with reflection days and building positive habits and resilience. You're not just out there grinding daily. You're progressing with a purpose, turning running into a lifelong motivator, not a chore. So if you're looking for a plan and you've tried weekly plans and felt overwhelmed, this is your game changer. And for those of you who have already bought this, lean into those rest and recovery days. That's where the magic happens. So if this resonates for you, go ahead and follow the link below and grab the plan or any of the plans, from 5Ks to the 100-milers. I got tons of information I developed for you out there at motivationtheoryrunning.com.
You'll ever wonder why it is the hell we do this stuff at middle age? How we push ourselves. I'm out here right now. It's about 18 degrees. Snow everywhere. Icicles forming on everything. It's uncomfortable. And there's no real reason, no important real reason that I'm doing it other than I like to challenge myself. I like to push myself. And it's crazy to think that I spent my 20s getting out of shape, getting disturbed with where I was, and when I turned 30, I decided I had enough. Running had only ever been something I did for cardio as a means to lose weight. It was never something I thought of doing just to be out doing it. I was ashamed when I first started. I hid in my garage, ran on the treadmill. I was 30 years old, former athlete, overweight, couldn't run in 5 minutes. And I was ashamed to go outside and run because I didn't want people to see me walking. Kind of funny to think something so absurd. This is just my thought process back then. So I ran in that garage, that dark, poorly lit, cold garage until I could run 5 minutes. And eventually a mile, 2, then 3 miles, 5Ks. And then we went on a camping trip as a family. We went to Williamsburg, and I signed up for a kind of a little local YMCA type 5K. And I was hooked. Had never run an organized race other than in track in high school. And I fell in love. The atmosphere, the anticipation of everyone standing around with a singular focus to go as fast from point A to point B as you could go. And that was intriguing. I wasn't really racing anyone. I was kind of just having fun, trying to always best myself. And that grew into 10Ks and eventually half marathons, and I ran probably 10 or 12 of those, and I got into marathons and probably ran 10 or 12 of those. And I came across a book, I think in 2014, Ultramarathon Man. Read that. I don't think I've been so interested in something that I read about in my entire life. And I read Born to Run. And that solidified in my mind that I was going to run trail races and ultramarathons with a singular focus on eventually getting to the 100-mile distance. I didn't rush the 100-mile distance. It took me about 10 years to finally attempt it. Not that I was scared, but I respected the distance. And I felt like I needed to put in the time, put in the work. And I had fun. I probably ran 24, 25 ultramarathons, 24-hour races, 50Ks, 50-milers, 100Ks, before eventually getting there. I love running. I love racing. I love the community. And it's crazy to know that all that started, that I found this accidentally by just getting disturbed with where I was in life, being out of shape, a dad, not feeling the thrill of competition or challenge that I once had in high school. As a young man, something's missing sometimes when you get to be that age, if you were an athlete. I say all this to say, why do we do this? That's the question most of the people I talk to, not you all. Most people I talk to in normal day life want to know, why the hell would I be out in 17, 18 degree weather for no reason? Just running. And this is gorgeous. There's something to be said in challenging yourself, and I think it speaks to who I am. I think it speaks to who you are. We're not content with where we are in life. We're not content to just roll over and die, not do anything hard, sit in a lazy boy and grow old. That's not who we are. We're people that like to push ourselves, challenge ourselves, be outside the norm. And I think, to me, that's norm. I don't get the roll over and grow old thing. I don't get that. It doesn't even register to me why you would just want to take it easy and not push yourself, not feel the pride of accomplishing something you worked for, or the pain of pushing yourself beyond where you've ever been before. To be the most alive I feel is out on a trail. I feel one with God out here, and I feel one with my soul. I love my family, I love my wife, my kids. They're the most important thing in the world to me. So, leaving them aside, not taking them into account here. This is the most alive I feel during my day, during my life, is out here on the trail. This is where we were meant to be. I think trail running is the pinnacle, not distance running particularly, but trail running is the pinnacle of peace, resiliency, healing. It's the biggest antidepressant I've ever found in my life, was being out here. And that's the reason I started this channel. It's because I wanted to push people towards this. I talk about ultramarathons, and I've told you that. Ultramarathons aren't for everyone, but I think trail running is. I think everyone should feel what it feels like. The solitude, the peace that you get from being out here. So why the hell do I do this? I do this because I have to. It makes me happy, and I can't even imagine a day in my life where I'm no longer part of this, that I no longer can do this. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine never doing this, never being able to be at one out here, whether it's hiking, walking with my family, or running and putting myself through so much pain. I wish to never run again. That's the magic of this place. It puts you through everything. And I know that's why you guys are searching. That's why you guys are watching this, because I feel you're probably the same. We're the percent of the 1% that have found the secret, that have found our happy place. And with the growth of this channel, I hope to reach more and more and more of you. So if you want to share this with people you think could use it, I think it would help. I've had the benefit of having people reach back to me over the years and tell me how this channel has inspired them, that they were out of shape, they were struggling, and then they started running, and they've been running for years, and that it changed their lives. And I don't think you can understand what that means to me. I put in thousands of hours. I've made over 1,200 videos over 10 years. Thousands of hours to help people, to share my story, to share the magic of this place out here, and hope that others can find it too.
So after running ultramarathons for over a decade, I've amassed a huge amount of information, things that I would do differently, things that I have done well and things that I have not done well, and things that I would have done differently back then if I knew then what I know now. And I know I've shared some of these in the past, but I'm going to share 3 new things that I would have done differently if I started running ultramarathons right now. First and foremost, nutrition. Nutrition is such a personal thing. We're all different. We're all an experiment of one, and what works for you may not work for me. But I know when I first started ultramarathons, I thought eating real food was not going to be good. Because when I first started, eating and running just didn't go together. That's not something you do when you road race. And I'm not talking about gels. I'm talking about real food. I'm not 130 pounds and 5'6". I'm not running 50 Ks in 4 hours. I'm a larger guy, 6 foot, 200 pounds, 210, 190 if I'm really, really skinny, but I burn a lot of calories and I'm out there a long time. So if you're slower, you're out there a long time, which means you need to burn more calories. So things that I would do differently when it comes to nutrition is I would have started fueling with real food sooner. It took me a long time to get to the point where I would eat a lot at the aid station. First, I didn't, it's kind of embarrassing, but I didn't like to eat the food that I saw everyone's fingers and hands digging and touching their parts and the giblets and then fingering all the food up. I just had an issue with it, but I'm okay now. What happens out on the trail stays out on the trail. It won't kill you. I'm still alive. It's actually helped me in many ways. But when I first started running, I would take things like Tailwind and think I was going to fuel off Tailwind the whole time. I'd do the math and be like, oh, I'm taking in all these calories from gels and Tailwind and all this stuff. I should just be fine. It didn't work. It does not work. I'm out there too long. Even my first ultramarathon was a double marathon over 2 mountains, tons of elevation, was out there for 13 hours, and it was a long day. I needed real food, and I just was trying to fuel off gels and things like that. It made it for a rough day because of my fueling, and eventually I got to the point where I started learning what foods to eat and what foods to avoid at the aid station. It wasn't just like an all-you-can-eat buffet, just pick from everything. You got to figure out what works. The grilled cheese sandwiches, the pierogies. I deal really well with the pierogies and broth, grilled cheese sandwiches, pizza, things like that. Doesn't seem like a running food, but when you first get into this, that stuff seems foreign. But it's definitely something that will help you if you figure that out early. So what my race looks like is I'm taking gels every 30 to 45 minutes, one gel, usually caffeine free, until the nighttime. I want the caffeine to work when I need it, so I avoid caffeine during the day. I eat a gel every 30 to 45 minutes, and then when I get to an aid station, I try to take in about 300 to 400 calories. And that's usually every 6 to 7 miles for most races. That's rough numbers, but that's what I'm aiming to do. And for the last couple of years, I've had no issues with bonking or anything like that. It's been a great fueling strategy, and it's worked quite well. And when it comes to nutrition, I think what hurts a lot of people is they'll go out and train for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours fasted. And they're like, that's what I can do in a race. That is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. And I've done it myself where, I could go out. There's times where I've gone out and run 15 to 20 miles on 1 or 2 gels. And so when I get in the race, I think I can do that because, it's easier on my stomach. I don't have to worry about stomach issues. And you think you're good until, mile 35, and all of a sudden you feel like your world is just crashing down, and it takes you a while to come back because now you got to get food in your system. That is probably one of the biggest things I see when it comes to nutrition, the mistakes people make when it comes to nutrition. So eat often. Eat more than you think you need to, especially in a 100-miler. You need to make sure you're fueled enough so your body has the calories it needs, because you won't even be able to eat enough calories. You won't be able to eat more calories than you're burning. So you're going to be at a deficit the whole time. But you need to get out ahead of that. Don't learn this lesson the hard way. I promise you it will not be fun. Number 2, and this is a weird one. I talk about this all the time on this channel, lube. Yeah, lube. Not just a little. I would take the little stick and I would rub the areas, and you get in there and get your giblets a little bit. Any parts that touch, rub, jiggle, or swing, lube them up. I used to think it was okay just to do a little bit, and then until you chafe between your cheeks, and it starts to heal up. After all, you learn. There's things you learn in this you don't want to learn. You don't learn this in the hard way. So now, when I lube like I'm getting paid for it, to be honest. I get in there and it's almost obnoxious, the amount of lube that I put in all the parts that touch, swing or swang. Listen to me. Do it. More than you think you need. And then do some more later on in the race. If you're doing a 50-miler, you can probably get away with just one, just putting in a little bit on there at the beginning, Maybe later if things go wrong. But, you know, if you do it well enough at the beginning, you're not going to have to worry about it for a 50K or 50 miler. But if you do a 100 miler or plus, you need to get in there good. Lube it up good at the beginning. And you're probably going to have to do it halfway, maybe more, depending on if it's rain, if it's hot, you know, temperature, cold, heat, all that comes into play. Lube way more than you think you need to. Third is common sense. Third is about pacing strategy. When I first started running and getting into ultras, I thought I could get away. Somehow I was going to avoid the bonk. I could just run for as long as I possibly wanted to, and it was just going to work. The strategy of running until you have to walk is just, it's not good. So I learned that if I wanted to walk, do a walk-run strategy, do it before I'm forced to, because you don't want to death march in the last 30 miles. But if you bank energy, I'm not talking about banking time, it's different for everybody. But if you're kind of a mid to backpack, you really want to bank energy because you're going to need it. But if you think you can go out there and run, you know, a 4.5 hour 50K and you're like, heck yeah, I'm way ahead of this, and then you're going to absolutely walk it in from mile frickin' 45 to 100, it's going to make for a very rough day. So you gotta swallow that ego, swallow the pride. I don't think you swallow ego. Do you swallow pride? You know what I'm talking about. From the very beginning, try to employ that walk-run strategy, banking the energy. Like right now, when I get into 100, I might get crazy and run like the first 5 or 6, and comfortably. I'm not trying to break a record. I'm not trying to run my best 10K at the beginning, but I make sure by the time I get to 50K, I'm right around the time that I want, that I'm not pushing too hard, knowing that I need that energy for the second 50. You know, the race, when you're running 100, the race doesn't start to, 100K. So you need to bank the energy, especially if you're not somebody who can run the entire race. And that's probably most of us.
So is the most important thing when it comes to running, is it tempo runs, is it long runs, is it speed training, gear, the newest shoes? Here's something to chew on. The power of consistency beats any of that. Showing up day in, day out, no matter the speed, no matter distance, showing up day after day. So think about this. Every morning you lace up your shoes, not just preparing for today's run, but you're building a habit. You're building that foundation, the one that's going to carry you through all of life's marathons, every single day. You're building upon what you did the previous day. We are the sum total of what we do every single day. And for ultra runners out there, it's the daily commitment that gets you through those 50 milers, those 100 milers, this foundation you build brick by brick. And for those of you juggling family, jobs, chaos of life like me, it's the consistency, the discipline that keeps you in the game year after year after year. It's hard to know that there are days that feel completely overwhelming. There's days I just don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like shutting down. And you can barely get things done, the bare minimum, just serving everyone else. Like you're so busy being a servant, being a leader, and helping other people that you don't have the energy to do what's best for you day to day. I have so many friends that have just given up, conceded that their level of fitness, their level of health is just what it is. This is what you do when you get old. I hear it all the time. You don't run anymore. You don't exercise anymore. You can't do anything. Your back is too bad. Your knees are too bad. They're fine with the level of fitness that they are right now, and they've conceded to just grow old and die. They're too far out of shape, and they're ready to just give up, pull the dirt over themselves, and wait for their time to come. It sucks to watch them give up because they don't know where to start or how to start or how to build that momentum and the discipline through the consistency that they have to have every single day to be what they want to be. That they're too out of shape to do the really big things, to do the exciting things that are still left to do in this beautiful world. I see people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s still doing things, still having fun, doing things that excite them. I want to help people get back in shape, but I can't get back in shape. I can't make people get off the couch. I can't make people want more out of their life. And to do that workout, I can show them the results of hard work. I can explain that things get better, but you got to put in the work. You got to get there, and you got to do it all. You have to do it all. You can look to others for motivation. You can look to others to help explain what you need to do. Once you get through that part and you build that foundation of succeeding more often than failing, and here's the kicker. Consistency isn't about being perfect. If you miss a day or today's run isn't your best, that's okay. It really is. I'm out here. Who cares? The key is to get back to it tomorrow. Every step you take, every choice you do to hit the trail, to hit the run, to hit the walk, instead of hitting the snooze button, is a step towards not just physical fitness, but mental fitness and resiliency. So as you go into your day, remind yourself consistency in the small things is what builds on you to those big things. Those large efforts over time lead to momentum. They lead to the monumental changes. So keep showing up, keep moving forward. And remember, you're not just running for today, you're running for your future self. So let's make that person proud. Get after it. So I don't have to tell you that running ultramarathons is hard. If you're watching this, you're probably a runner, thinking about becoming a runner or trying to get back into it. And running isn't always easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. I've been running ultramarathons since 2014. I've run, I think, over 28 ultramarathons, and I've picked up a couple nuggets or two over these years to kind of help myself out, give me a little more confidence when I go into these races, knowing that there's still a good chance of failure. They're not a given. You know how much you prepare. You can prepare for everything you can think of and still have issues, still have things come up that you never thought of. And I've proven that on this channel. You always find something new to overcome or think of, add it to the list. So ultra running is problem solving. It's preparing, troubleshooting, endurance, troubleshooting, and just pure toughness. Really, it's what gets you through these things. Training is fun. It's about the journey. But the number one tip I could give you, and what I would do right now if I just started off ultra running, is I would focus a lot more on time on feet. And I've mentioned this a lot on this channel. Stand as much as you can, walk as much as you can. Running does not have to be, especially if you're just starting off, doesn't have to be all running. I would have mixed in a lot more walk-run strategy and training. I came from road running. I came from 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, marathons, and you ran the whole time, even in training. Which, if I was going to go run 10 miles, I'd run that fast. Wasn't training appropriate then, but still, if I want to go run for 3 hours, in my mind, I'm like, wow, I'm going to be out there for 20 miles. It doesn't have to be that. Stretching the time out, taking advantage of slower miles. Let it go of the ego and trying to impress people on Strava. So if you have a 3-hour run and you only get 12 or 15 miles, that's what you got to do. Get more time on your feet and allow you to prepare your muscles, your tendons, fascia, bones, all that, your feet, for more time on your feet. Because at the beginning, and for a lot of people in ultras, the feet and the legs is what takes you out. And to prepare for that, you need to spend more time preparing those elements, those parts of your body. And you have to do that through more time on your feet. So it's a little more pride swallowing to be slower, but you need to be able to stretch your energy reserves over time. If you're just surviving, say a marathon, you could still battle through a 50K. 50 miles would be extremely tough. If you're somebody who's crushing marathons, then 50Ks are nothing to you. You wouldn't even need to really change anything in your training. You just run a little bit further. A 50 miler would be a little tougher, but you'd be in shape enough to survive it. That's what you need to do, and that's what I would do if I was starting off again, and that's what I do now that I'm a little bit older and wiser. All right, I want to take a quick break to let you all know that we have memberships on this channel. There are benefits that come along with being a channel member. You can read about those by clicking join down below. It doesn't join you automatically, you can read about it. I've had some very long time 4 and 5 year members, even longer, for channel memberships on this channel, and it does support me make the content. It helps me pay the bills with websites, editing software, all the subscriptions I have to own to do all of this stuff out here to continue to make good content and buy and pay for the equipment that I use. If you are interested in that, you can do that. You can also do a thanks, click the thanks button, and just do a one-time thing. It's up to you. The biggest support you can give me is liking the video and commenting, watching all the video if you can. That helps me the most. Lets the YouTube know it's good content, that you enjoy it, and to let other people also enjoy it. Now, this next tip is just as important as anything, if not the most important thing in distance running and ultra running, and that's nutrition. And I don't mean go out there and figure it out on the fly. Race day is not the day you should be figuring out what works with your stomach. It should not be. You should understand your caloric intake needs, sodium, potassium, magnesium, all of the things that your body's going to need over an extended amount of time, longer than your longest long run, longest than your longest race. So if you're coming from marathons, you're probably used to popping gels here and there and just kind of getting through it. That's not gonna, unless you're an elite, it's not gonna fly in ultra marathons. You're gonna need to practice. And man, I wish I would have done this more on some very long runs. So long, slow runs. And this is where it kind of coalesces with number one, spending more time on your feet. Well, if you go out on say a 5 or 6 hour long run, distance training run, it's not something you're out there burning yourself out. It's definitely something you're going to go out there and zone 2 and slower with some pickups here and there to try to simulate race day and what you would need and what works with your stomach. I have definitely changed what works with me over time. Some people can get away with using tailwind and gels and all kinds of different things. I've come to find out that I can use some gels, not the super sweet ones. I definitely like the ones with the chia seeds in it, but I deal better with whole foods, or at least foods in general, normal foods, not gels, not supplements, peanut butter and jellies, bacon, quesadillas, pizza, whatever I can get my hands upon. And race day, those are the things you need to be able to ensure your body needs, because I go into a caloric deficit pretty quickly in races. I try to take in at least 300 to 400 calories an hour, which definitely not enough, but your stomach can only process about 400 calories an hour. The things it takes out people at the beginning and out of many races, no matter how many years you've been doing it, it's stomach issues. It's not being able to handle food and upsetting your stomach, or not taking in enough food and having a serious bonk session, and you're trying to catch up. Now it seems like it's something simple, but you have to practice this. You don't want to be finding this stuff out in the middle of a 50 miler, 100 miler, 200, whatever it is you're running. You got to get that figured out, and figured out early, so it's not something that surprises you and you don't know how to troubleshoot it. You should know this stuff going into the race, and it's definitely going to help you from DNFing over stomach issues. All right, my watch just let me know, my new Garmin Enduro 3 just let me know I dropped my phone somewhere, that it was left. Has reconnected. Looking for connection. Let me know I dropped it somewhere. I was about, I don't know, 70, 80 yards away when it let me know. Ah, look at that. So this third one is advice I definitely and seriously heed new runners, first timers, to really think about. And that is being completely honest with yourself, with an honest goal. Now, 100 milers is not typically the first race for anyone, but everyone, when they think about an ultra marathon, has some sort of goal time in their mind. They might not say it. They may say, I just want to finish. But there's always a goal. They don't say it because they're embarrassed to say it, but in their mind, I know, been there. You need to lower the stress, unnecessary stress in ultra marathons, no matter when in your career you are. So being honest with yourself at any level, at any length of time in your career, is always going to help you more than it hurts you. Like if you're training for 100 and you're 24 hours or bust, but you don't have 24-hour legs, you haven't trained for it, why? Why say it? Why try to do it? You're going to smoke yourself, and you're going to unnecessarily bonk and just have an even harder day in something that's already hard to begin with. So when you're planning, you should be able to take times from other races you've run, training times, things like that, and honestly identify a goal time. And then that can be your goal time, as long as it's an honest effort. Look at this right here, trees down everywhere. That can be your A race. And I would set a B and C, because shit's gonna happen. You're gonna bonk. You're gonna be tired, whether or not because you didn't sleep enough the week before, the week leading up to the race, or the night before, nerves, or you decided that you're gonna run pretty close to your half marathon PR or marathon PR the first part of the race, for no reason other than you can do it. And then you quickly realize, that's what they mean by a pacing strategy. So it does feel good if you're in shape to run 20 miles and you can just go ahead and run 20 miles. But if you're running a 50 miler or 100 miler and you run the first 100 or 20, but you're not in shape to continue running, it's going to be a long day. You'll have a really good first part of the race, really good 20 miles. And then you're going to have a really crappy sufferfest for 30 or 80 more miles, depending on the race. Or 40 if you're running 100K. These are the things you need to think about. And it's okay. There's no egos in this. What you want to do, train the best you can. Put in an honest effort, a lot of time on your feet, so that you can be mentally tough out there. Be confident in what you do know. You can't control everything, but you can control the things you know. You can control effort. You can control pace. You can control nutrition and hydration. Those things you can control. And as long as you execute those, you gotta let the chips fall where they may. Put in an honest effort, but don't stress yourself out with some unattainable goal. Now, there are elites out there, and that's not who I'm talking to, that can go out there and absolutely put an unattainable goal, and they have the fitness and the training and the mental toughness to maybe get there. But if these are your first times at these distances, I would pace yourself. Conserve energy. Spread that energy out over a longer effort. And then you can pivot from that in the future. If you find out that, yeah, I had more in the tank, guess what? You got information now. You got more data to make a better decision in the future to improve times. Get more time on your feet and be more successful. That's what this whole thing is about. Troubleshooting, problem solving, enjoying nature, enjoying each other out there. Shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that stressful. Enjoy it. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination. Don't worry about DNFs. Worry about putting one foot in front of the other and continuing to move forward, not only in training, not only in life, not only in races, but in every single thing you do in your life.
While it's common sense that ultramarathons are hard, most people who haven't run them make the mistake of thinking it's just a physical game. And while it is a lot physical, you're putting yourself and your body through a lot, it's the mind that is most likely going to cause you to quit. And in this video, I'm going to go through 10 things, 10 tips that I believe can help you prepare yourself to be more successful in an ultramarathon, especially if this is your first. But, running distances of 100 plus are difficult. And it doesn't matter if you've done 1 or 10. Every new challenge is difficult, and you have to follow the things that made you successful in the past to be successful in the future. Experience does help, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, so please stick around. Number 1, I just DNF'd my last 100, and it wasn't because I didn't prepare, but it was something that was a freak accident. Rolling my ankle, which was rolled in a previous 100-miler that was still evidently problematic. But I still think training enough, and this seems like one of those ones like, well, no kidding. Training enough, making sure that your body is prepared for the race is going to help a lot. It is, obviously it's going to help, but your body needs to be in shape. And the more ultras that you do, and I am guilty of this, you lean on experience more than being well prepared. And I've done videos on kind of what's the minimum amount of training that you need to do an ultra. And those are really based around people who have done many of them and, have a busy year and then they can't kind of get all of the training in that they need. It's kind of centered around that. I've kind of fallen into that. I know what I need to do. I know I'm not going to be out there sprinting, but you can't fake an ultra. You can't. Your body has to be able to put up with the damage that you're going to be doing to it, the stress that you're going to be putting on it. You can't fake those type of things. So first and foremost, this wasn't really one of my top 10. I wanted to lay that out there, that no matter how many that you've done, no matter how many ultras that you've done, you're always going to have to show up to the line ready to put on a fight. So first, I wrote these down for you, so I'm going to kind of read through them. Train the mind like armor. So this is what I suggest to people who rely heavily on music, rely heavily on run groups. I would do mind hardening type exercises. For years, I would run on this treadmill with no music, no TV, nothing, and I would just run for 4, 5, 6 hours. And I did that specifically to be able to live inside my own mind for a long time. And that's ultimately, for me, one of the biggest challenges in an ultramarathon is really being able to be inside my own head and stay focused on the goal and not get derailed by this hurts or I'm bored or I'm lonely and I don't want to do this anymore. So doing things like keeping yourself from having to lean on music or other things that you typically lean on to get through workouts, I would suggest leaving those out. Running in extreme heat, running in extreme cold, running when it's raining, doing those things, putting yourself through very hard things outside of just the training itself prepares you for race day, because you don't get to pick the weather on race day. And if you've watched this channel for any number of years, you've seen the ultras that I've run that have been in hurricanes, freezing temps, extreme heat. Running in a tornado would be crazy. I haven't done that yet, but I'm sure some of you have had tornado warnings wherever you are. But put yourself through those hard things, and it's definitely going to help you. Number 2, running deliberate failure type drills. So I don't suggest this doing a ton, and there's definitely some arguments to be made on this. Training occasionally on long runs, fasted, or trying to make yourself bonk, and know that feeling, because when you're in an ultra marathon, one of the biggest fights you can kind of run into is if you don't fuel properly and you're bonking, you've run out, and you're having to push through that because you don't want to eat, you don't feel good, but you have to eat to feel better. And honestly, those are some of the biggest hurdles that people have to overcome in ultras, as being in that bonking stage. And you'll bonk multiple times in a 50 or 100 mile race, and plus, obviously. So it's good to know how to handle them, to know that it's going to be okay. Typically, when you're in that state, you are worried that your day is over. But that's the thing about ultras. If you push long enough and you troubleshoot properly, you can get through things. And that's, being resilient, training for it, and understanding that it's going to happen, and being able to troubleshoot those type of things, putting yourself in those situations and training will help you be more apt to be able to solve those and stay grounded and centered in an ultra and not panic, especially if you don't have crew or someone to kind of talk you through, or an experienced crew. You can have crew that are not ultra marathons, but if you don't have like an experienced ultra marathon person on your crew or with you to kind of help talk you through what you're going through and to kind of solve it when you have runner's brain, it can be problematic to run into that situation. So I definitely suggest people work on that. It doesn't come naturally. You got to train for it. Pre-race anxiety. This is something that I dealt with a lot. Over-planning, overpacking, thinking it all through to a point of really making more stress on yourself. I suggest writing things down, making a list, really working through what it is you need, really what you need. I suggest working off the aid stations. I think that relieves a lot of stress. It does for me. I used to always think that I needed to bring everything that I needed, which I still kind of do, but now I realize, and it's just through wisdom, that these races prepare and think these things out. And there's so many, from sweet and savory to the things you need on the tables. They think about that, where you are in the race, what time it is. They put a lot of thought in these, at least most races do. Lean on that. And I think it will help you. Now, I know winter races are extreme heat races where you have to go from hot to cold and cold to hot and wet to dry or hot. Like, there's a lot of clothing things you have to, especially if you're doing a point-to-point and aid stations and drop bags and things like that. You should think those things through. Things you're going to need: change of socks, shoes, underwear, shorts, shirts, hats, sunglasses, suntan lotion, lube. All of those things are definitely things you don't want to overthink. I mean, you don't want to forget them, but you don't want to overthink it to the point where you're just stressed, because I think that leads to poor sleep. I think it leads to unnecessary wear on your mind and your body prior to a race. Remember, you love running. You're doing this. This is a celebration for most of us. It's a celebration of training and just showing yourself what you can do. And overthinking it, especially for those of us in the middle to the back of the pack, there's no reason to put yourself through so much stress to the point that you just make it miserable. And so I suggest not doing that. Yoga, meditation, making sure you get enough sleep, doing all these things is really going to help you in race day. So 4, throw out the outcome goals. Throw those things out. I've learned, instead of panicking over, I gotta be under 24 hours. I gotta be under this. I have to get this time by this time. I understand why people do that, because you're trying to stay on track. I think it's more beneficial, and I've done this through myself, is doing the things that will make you successful. So, if you're in a race, what is some goals that are going to be not outcome, but process goals? So process, staying hydrated, staying fueled, not going too fast. if you do those little things, the end result will get you where you want to go. So some days the sub 24 might be in you. Some days it's not. You can't control the weather, but it's heat, rain, mud, traffic jams on, single track trails. There's so many things that can kind of fall outside of what you can control. To stress constantly on time is just going to be not very productive. So doing the things you can do. I'm going to smile going through aid stations. I'm going to make sure I thank all the aid station people. I'm going to make sure that I fuel myself every 45 minutes with this amount of calories. I'm going to make sure that I take in this amount of water and this amount of hydration, the salt, all of that type of stuff. If you do those things, I think those are the stepping stones to get you to your goal and not stress. Because when you're stressing on time, you may forget those things, which will then obviously hurt your outcome goals. So process goals, focus on process goals and things you're going to do. That will help tremendously. All right. I wrote down here the 10-10-10 rule. So this is really about give yourself another 10 minutes and reassess. Give yourself another 10 minutes and reassess. This is something that I have to focus on because I definitely will get in my feelings. I will definitely get into panic mode. You just start to lose your brain. Things get hard. It gets hot. You're struggling. The ankle issue that you've had is getting worse and worse and worse. So you're projecting out how bad it's going to be, not taking into account that maybe it will get better. This is what happened to me in my last 100. Rolling my ankle and it hurting tremendously and getting in my head. Could I've gotten through it? I'm not sure. But I did convince myself that I wouldn't be able to finish 100 on it. I could have definitely pushed further, but giving yourself another 10 minutes is something that I think that we all need to do, because I think we make very panicked decisions where we start to think, oh no, my day is gone. Giving yourself a little more time, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just keep pushing. I think it's definitely going to help you reassess in a more thoughtful way. Listen to your aid station, your crew, the people that are there with you. And if you know that you're this type of person, which I can be, telling them ahead of time, this is something I failed to do, that, hey, I'm probably going to say this, 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 and this, or I'm going to feel this way at mile 30 or 38 or 40 or 50. Being aware of your weak spots and what your mind has a tendency to do, because again, this is a mind battle. Nobody can physically help you get through the physical part, but they can help you through the mind stuff. And the mind stuff is the most important, because ultimately the mind stuff is what makes you quit. If you're not, actually injured, the mind stuff is what actually gets you. And some people have such a strong mind, they could be extremely physically injured and still finish. And my hat's off to those people, because I've seen it and it's crazy. And I've seen people that have hurt themselves early in a race, like mile 30, and finish 100. I can't express how much of a tough person they are to battle not only the physical part of that, but the mental side of that. So definitely do the 10-10-10 rule. Just give you 10 more minutes, and eventually you're going to cut through more miles, and then you're going to feel better. That's the thing about ultras. If you're feeling good, if you're feeling bad, you don't have to worry about it, because it will change eventually, no matter which one it is. Evidence log. So your mind will go to a point where it starts to talk down, where you're starting to feel negative, you're going slow, I'm not going to make it, I don't feel good. You start this really negative internal talk, and you need to start pushing through those things by talking yourself through what you have done in the past. So pulling forward, I've completed this many hundreds. I've felt this way before. I've trained hard. I have my crew waiting for me. I just got 8 more miles and they'll be up there and I'll be okay. And just trying to replace that negative self-talk with the evidence log of things that you have done and that you can do and that you do know. And this, again, the mental side of this struggle is where you need to get. If you're at mile 70, focusing on, I've done 70 miles. I am almost done. Believe it or not, any kind of thing like that is going to help shut that voice off in your head that is going into survival mode. It's fight or flight. Your body and your mind are not wanting to do this. It's not a 5K. You're not running like a fairy down the trail for 100 miles. You're going to have to fight through things. Your body's going to tell you that you're dying, that you got to stop. You need to find a way and have those tools in your tool chest to pull out, to talk yourself into it. Tell your crew that also. All of that really, really helps. Mantras. Now, sometimes these things are goofy. A lot of times with me, mantras are more about counting steps. But people do, you know, the relentless forward progress, 1 foot in front of the other, which I say all the time in this. This is the part I train for. I talk about this all the time, and I'm feeling really, really bad. I'm like, you paid for this, dummy. You paid to do this. Why are you being a little you-know-what? You paid for this. This is what you're here for. It's not easy. It isn't meant to be easy, and you're here because it's hard. If you wanted something easy, you would have jumped in the turkey trot. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be tough with yourself with those type of things. But with me, I have to get down to the point where I'm going to run to that tree and I'll just count steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until I get to that tree. There's times I got to get through that are like that, where I'm literally counting steps. And I probably use that one more than, and it's not really a mantra. It's just a way for me to occupy my mind and how to get to the next thing and the next thing and to the next thing until I go through some sort of mental change and I can get out of that. So I would definitely prepare yourself with that. Find out what works for you. You can work in training and again, pushing yourself through hard things. Practice this stuff in hundreds or 50 milers or 50Ks because there's plenty of time to do it. Practice what works for you. And that was kind of two put into one there. The micro winning mindset. Want to shrink them out and cut it up into parts. Running to the next tree, running to the next lamppost, running to that person that you see up there. Try to pass them. Breathing in for, breathing out for, playing games, naming animals, counting how many steps, which is what I use. My buddy Joe has brought out cards that make you talk about like your favorite albums, your top 5 favorite albums, all those type of things that just occupy your mind. So those are kind of like 7 and 8. And I definitely suggest being able to occupy your mind with positive things and good things, and do not let the bad things start to creep in, because those are what you start talking about. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. When I get up here, I'm going to quit. When I get to the aid station, I'm going to quit. It's okay. Nobody cares. I've done 60 miles. That's enough. Again, nobody cares. I put in a good fight today. It's just not my day. And these are things that my mind go to when I start to get tired, especially when I'm by myself. When I'm not by myself and I'm with someone, it helps me stay out of that mindset, because I can just go quiet and they can start talking and helping me through that. So prep for that. Extremely important. These things aren't just like, well, you could do it, not do it. These things you have to be able to master to get through ultramarathons. 9, DNF debrief protocol. DNFs are a way to learn. Most of these things that I'm telling you, if not all of them, are things I learned through failure. Success, you can learn some things. You don't learn a ton from a success, but it's the failures where you really get to learn what happened, the after actions, what broke. Was it the body, gear, your nutrition? What did you not do? And ultimately, when you hit a DNF, there are some things you didn't do. Sometimes you want to package that up as it just wasn't my day, but if you are honest with yourself, there are things that you did not do, or things that were out of your control, that next time you can prepare for or mitigate. Fueling, hydration, going out too fast, not wearing the proper gear, shoes that you bought are not ones you need to run in hundreds, and I got major blisters. Like those type of things, you need to really take those to heart, because they will come up again, especially if you're doing the same race again. And so, insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Learn from your mistakes. That's definitely something that will help you. Because if you do run ultras long enough, you're going to DNF. If you're not, then either you didn't push hard enough or you didn't challenge yourself enough. Now, not everyone goes through them. I get that some are just beasts, and I know there's some of you out there that'll run, 50 hundreds a year, and you just crank through them. And you guys are special butterflies. You're unicorns, and we all bow to you. So, number 10. This one is one that you gotta be able to master, and that's kind of immediate reframe and kind of doing a micro comeback plan. That's what I'm going through right now, where you start after a DNF or after a race that was you didn't hit your goal, is absorb it, feel the pain, do an after action, reframe it, whether or not it be publicly. I do that with you all. I tell you all what happened, but you also got to do it in your mind and go through what was successful, what you did well, go through what you did not do well, and be honest. This is a time to be honest. But you need to find a way to come back, especially if you've had a string of bad races, which I have. How are you going to come back from those? And so to me, it's going back to what I love. What got me to where I am is maybe some shorter races, some 50Ks, 50 milers, get back out on the trail. I have not run a ton on the trail. Just haven't had time. There's been a lot going on with my job and family, and it kind of takes away from that. And I stopped doing the things that made me successful in the past. And so that's what you need to do. So just find your pathway back. So do some things that are kind of not a stressful thing. There's no pressure. Sign up for some races. I just did the Marine Corps Marathon. No pressure in that to me. It was just so much fun to just run a race and not feel the weight of 75 more miles after I finished the marathon, that I can just go enjoy, look at other people enjoying running. And it kind of tapped into what got me into running, so that I can kind of build my way back. Again, this is a mental thing. Ultras are a mental thing, and you have to kind of find ways to keep yourself in the game and not burn out. I see a lot of people that burn out and just stop doing it. And that's sad, because ultimately running in general is what I love. Running on the trails, going out on the trail for a 10-mile run just sets me up for such a great day. It makes me so happy to be out there no matter the distance. The ultras are just kind of a way to celebrate my love of running. They're not the foundation of my running. And I think if we can do that, if we can find a way to build back, and that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, my buddy Joe, and this is what I love about this channel, is I spend all this time in these years kind of documenting my journey to help inspire and motivate other people. But when that comes back to me, I love it, because so many of you share stories with me. When I see you out at races, you tell me that you got into ultras because of videos I watched, or you're running the race that we're currently in because of videos that you watched of mine. And having somebody like Joe reach out and, say, hey buddy, next year let's go do the Daytona 100. And it's a race I want to do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm at a point right now where I can say, yeah. And that gives me the carrot a year from now to train really hard this next year. That first point I made, train really hard this next year and make a legitimate try at the race. Not some half-assed, oh, I didn't have enough time, and just crush it. And understand that you get out of this what you put into it. You can't fake ultras. You could fake a lot of other races if you're just finishing. Ultras, especially at the 100-mile distance, you can't fake. And still understand they're going to be hard. No matter how well prepared you are, they're going to be hard. So be smart, be kind to yourself, and let's get after it. So if you're struggling with your running career, whether it be road or trail, ultramarathons, it's not because you're not driven and you're not motivated. It's because you lack structure. So what is a 14-day training cycle? First off, let's forget about the traditional 7-day weekly plans that cram everything into Monday through Sunday. My 14-day cycle is like a 2-week rhythmic thing that repeats throughout your training program. It's a loop of runs, strength sessions, cross-training, and most importantly, built-in rest days. For example, in the beginner marathon plan, day 1 might be an easy run, day 7 a long run, and day 8 a back-to-back easy effort type run, the back-to-back long runs, and day 14 would be a complete rest day. Then you loop back to day 1 with the next week adjusted durations from the progression table that also comes in this plan. No need to track complicated weeks, just follow the cycle and adjust based on the plan's table. This spreads out the hard stuff, giving your body time to adapt without feeling like you're always on. Using the cycle is easy. Step 1, print or save your plan's 14-day template and progression table. Mark your start date and note the phase, example, your base building phase in weeks 1 through 4. Step 2, follow the daily activities that I have set out in there for you. In order, easy runs on the roads or paths, strength sessions 2 to 3 times per cycle, and rest when it says rest. Now, if life happens, and it always does, work, illness, I'm battling something right now, swap a run for a cross-training day or shift a day or have a rest day. The cycle is very flexible. Step 3, adjust durations weekly from the progression table. For example, in week 5, your long run jumps to 160 minutes. Track your RPE, which is your effort level, to stay easy, and walk if needed. Step 4, incorporate the extras. Do mobility on rest days, fuel during long runs. You want to practice those gels every 45 minutes, and hit the mindset focus daily. Ultras are mental. Running is mental just as much as it is physical. You're going to have to practice. Step 5, repeat the cycle until race week. Tapering is shown. If a phase feels too tough, hold it for a whole cycle and progress at your own pace. No overthinking, just consistent action that builds you up safely. Now, why 14 days? It's not random. It's rooted in how your body and mind actually adapt to training. Science shows that muscular repair and adaptation take 48 hours to 72 hours after a hard effort, not just 24, not just overnight. A 7-day week often crams long runs, strength training, and speed too close together, leading to fatigue, higher injury risk, like the stress fractures that people get on the roads, plantar fasciitis and stuff like that, and burnout, especially for beginners or very busy folks who are trying to cram it all in. Now, the 14-day cycle spreads this out. More recovery buffers let your body supercompensate, which means get stronger from the stress, aligning with natural recovery rhythms. It stimulates multi-day fatigue, which is great for marathon or wall prep, while preventing overtraining syndrome. Studies on endurance athletes confirm extended cycles improve performance and adherence by balancing the load. Runners stick with it longer because it fits real life, reducing the dropout rates. It's about the mental sustainability also. Shorter bursts of effort with reflection days and building positive habits and resilience. You're not just out there grinding daily. You're progressing with a purpose, turning running into a lifelong motivator, not a chore. So if you're looking for a plan and you've tried weekly plans and felt overwhelmed, this is your game changer. And for those of you who have already bought this, lean into those rest and recovery days. That's where the magic happens. So if this resonates for you, go ahead and follow the link below and grab the plan or any of the plans from 5Ks to the 100-milers. I got tons of information I developed for you out there at motivationtheoryrunning.com. Let's turn theory into reality. That's what my life's about. That's why I do this. So drop your questions below. I'm here to motivate. You've got the fire. I'll see you out there. Take care.